podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine. Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans.
For basketball fans.
Finn James.
Will Tremaine.
Sorry for the hiatus once again. I was in Melbourne.
And there's another one coming up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
However, fear not.
Yeah.
We're going to have some content for you while we're away. But however, this is season 2, episode 6. And yes, we did miss another week. And yes, it was my fault once again. And yes, I am sorry. And it won't happen again.
Well, yeah.
Well,
we've got Hoop Nation coming up this coming week. So we're going to be down there, scoring buckets, putting buckets on some poor souls down in Tauranga.
I wouldn't say that.
But we are going to be recording 2 episodes today. Our usual NBL breakdown of what's happened this round. Round 5, I believe we're in. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to do a special episode purely based on the NBA. Our predictions for the upcoming season. Conference predictions, our MVPs, our award predictions. All that stuff. It's going to be a shorter, 25, 30-minute episode. And we're going to schedule that to be released next Sunday whilst we're away. So yeah, there won't be any NBL content in next week's episode, like I said, because we're away. But yeah, it'll be our NBA special.
So next week, when we're wearing the exact same clothing that we're wearing in this episode, that is the reason why. But yeah, like Will said, it's going to be the Fast Break Podcast NBA special, NBA preseason prediction special, which will be coming out next Sunday at 5 p.m. But this is going to be a very jam-packed episode. We're not going to be covering off everything that's happened in the last 2 weeks, mostly like what Will said from round 5, the Breakers result from Friday night, as well as looking ahead to the Melbourne United game, which does tip off to this afternoon at 4:30. Obviously, our episodes drop at 5 p.m. We do record them in the AM, well, sort of in the afternoon. So we will be missing the Melbourne United game. However, this episode will drop halfway through the Melbourne United game. So we're going to be dropping our predictions and feelings heading into this, honestly, pretty massive game for this afternoon.
But by the time you're watching this, the game will probably be over, so...
Highly likely. Yeah. And that is not our fault. It's not nobody's fault. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles
when in
sometimes.
doubt, put it on, Finn.
It's all my fault, apparently. But yeah, loads of things and topics to unpack in this episode. Of course, we'll be running through a little bit of world basketball news, a little bit of NBL NBL news and NBA preseason news as well. Running through the round 5 results, what's been sticking out. Obviously, really digesting the Breakers win over Tasmania on Friday, which was a very, very entertaining game. We have some press conference audio from Petteri Koponen as well that Will and I attended, so we'll be playing that for you as well and digesting that, as well as giving you our poll results from the poll that was 2 weeks ago, which was on whether Petteri Koponen is the right man for the job, which I thought was very interesting. We had some... I wouldn't say mixed results, but I think surprising results.
Very surprising.
So that'll be at the back end of the episode, as well as giving a poll for you guys to vote for the next 2 weeks as well. But without further ado, Will, let's get into some world basketball news.
Yeah. Mason Jones, a guy that we were big on, Finn, when he signed with the Perth Wildcats, former NBA G League MVP coming over. What's happened with him?
He's been released. Just couldn't figure it out. I think from what I understood, he played 5 games, just... couldn't translate, and I think, was it NBA G League MVP or Finals MVP? One of the two. He was very good. His stats in the G League were exceptional. I think he was a G League champion as well, but he was shooting, I think, 36% from the field. Obviously his game wasn't translating, and despite him being, I mean, you could say, well, arguably one of the most exciting signings of the season. It was late. It was one of the latest ones. Perth were looking for that point guard position all off season to replace Bryce Cotton. Landed on, I thought was going to be a perfect replacement.
I mean, a guy that we were talking about possible MVP discussions. But I think it helps their case releasing him with the rise of their young point guard players like Dante Russo-Nance, who's really stepped up. I think that really helped out in that deciding factor. But it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. They've obviously got another import spot now. Who are they going to sign to replace Mason Jones?
Just very surprising. Like they only gave him 5 games to figure it out, and that was it.
Yeah.
Is that really how cutthroat the league's become?
I guess. Short time frame.
I mean, there's been a lot of releases around the league as well. Obviously, we've had a bit of a Mickey Mouse episode schedule at the moment, but we've seen players like Javon Freeman-Liberty be released from the Brisbane Bullets, which...
Another guy we were high on.
I thought he was going to be an NBL first-teamer, genuinely. Obviously, Ja'Cory McLaughlin was released, which honestly didn't surprise me that much.
There's some controversy around
a lot of drama surrounding that. Obviously... Blindberg from the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix didn't even get to play a game. He was released pre-season. So they're dropping like flies out here, man.
Yeah.
And
Might be more to come.
There could be more to come. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? There could be something on our own shore.
Stay tuned for the poll.
But yeah, that was very surprising. Little bit of NBA news as well, though, Will. Before the NBA season tips off on Wednesday. Feeling like Christmas Eve almost.
The King, LeBron James, second greatest basketball player of all time, has been ruled out until mid-November. So big loss for the Lakers there.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic is going to have to step up. All Luka Doncic fantasy owners in basketball. Me.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we had our draft, by the way. First of all, I think I was still slightly intoxicated on Sunday morning when we did our draft. And I think I got one of the last picks. Was I pick 11?
I think so.
Honestly, considering how low my pick was, I'm pretty happy with the team that I drafted.
Yeah, we'll see.
Are you happy with yours?
I'm very happy with mine.
That's good.
I got Luka at 5. I think that's a steal.
Yeah, it's solid. I can't remember who I picked at 11. Okay, actually can't even remember.
Anyway, yeah, LeBron's out. So, yeah.
Yeah, sciatica issues.
Lost for the Lakers, but I think they'll still be able to handle whilst he's out. And once he comes back, that's a dangerous team, which we'll get into in our Fast Break podcast special when we're talking about the Lakers. But yeah, some news there. And also Russell Westbrook, he's finally signed with a team, the Sacramento Kings. I see it's a non-guaranteed contract, so he's not there for the whole year, per se. He could be playing terrible and then get cut, who knows. But yeah, glad he got signed, to be honest. I wasn't a fan of Westbrook during the days where he was going back and forth with Dame and whatnot. The Dame waving him goodbye. Never the biggest fan, but it's still good to see a legend of the game in the league, I think. I would have been upset if he'd left the NBA.
I was just incredibly surprised that nobody had picked him up. That's a triple-double king. Obviously, he's old now. He's going into season 18 of his career. But I thought he had pretty meaningful minutes on the Nuggets last season.
Yeah. And at the very least, he's a great veteran presence for younger guards on teams.
Locker room presence for somebody with that caliber of experience. He's a former MVP. He's not a champion, is he? No, he's not. But I don't know. I was very surprised it took him this long. But yeah, signed with the Sacramento Kings, which, I don't think are going to be doing that good this season regardless. But yeah, any other news as well, Will?
Malcolm Brogdon has retired. He had signed with the New York Knicks during the preseason, so he was going to be the backup point guard to Brunson, but he's decided to call it a day.
9 seasons, and he's gone. Very surprising. This realistically kind of leaves a hole in that backup point guard position for the New York Knicks as well. So whether they go and try find somebody else to pick up. I know Ben Simmons is still on the market.
God forbid. He ain't doing nothing to help no team anymore. So.
Yeah, we had him last year. Wasn't awful. But I don't know. Malcolm Brogdon, very surprising. Yeah, he played a little bit.
Fair.
But yeah, Malcolm Brogdon retiring. Didn't expect it, to be brutally honest with you, Will.
No.
So, he's quite young. Former Rookie of the Year.
Big shock.
Meaningful point guard in recent teams as well. So
played for Portland.
Portland legend.
A couple years ago. No. Chill.
All right, we move on to the NBL Round 5 recap. Some very, very good performances throughout this round, including one Bryce Cotton performance, which we will get into in a few games as we go through from the start of the round. This was last night. Bryce Cotton went absolutely berserk. But if we look back to Wednesday night, the Ignite Cup round, which is every Wednesday night going forward, which I've been a fan of because usually it was Thursday to Sunday usually for NBL, but now they've added the Wednesday night Ignite Cup rounds, which I'm enjoying. It's a little bit different. They got a different scoreboard, different scoring system. The NBL panel is in a seated room with couches and stuff. It's kind of cool. I'm a big fan. But if we do look back, the Tassie JackJumpers put on an absolute defensive masterclass against the Sydney Kings. They won 86-70. And to be honest, they were leading by 20-plus points for most of this game, just due to how defensively dominant they were. So this is a very good performance from the Jackies. Tiger Campbell with 21 points and 5 assists. That was his season high. And Josh Bannon, who's impressed me majority of this season, finished with 18 and 14, as well as 6 assists. Anything that stood out to you in this one, Will?
All 5 of Sydney's starters scored double figures, but no one really jumped out of on the box score. Kendrick Davis, their star guy, he did have 10 points. But he was 4 for 17 shooting. So
damn.
Yeah, very inefficient. Obviously, because of that defensive masterclass that Tassie put on. But Sydney are struggling, Finn. They're doing as well as I thought.
Miss.
Yeah.
They beat Adelaide.
Yeah.
Who are arguably the second best team in the competition.
So far they are, yeah.
That was the Kendrick Davis redemption game because it was in Adelaide, and it honestly was a pretty smooth performance. They held Bryce Cotton to 7 points through ball call. Kendrick Davis had 20 plus points in that game against Adelaide a couple weeks ago, but they're just very inconsistent.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. This reminds me of what Sydney were producing last year with an absolutely stacked roster from 1 to 5, probably 3 players down on the bench as well, who were just excellent, and they could not piece games together. And I feel like it's happening once again in NBL 26.
Yeah. Concerning if you're a Sydney fan at the moment.
Yeah.
Another game, very high scoring one. Bullets beat Perth 110 to 93. Casey Prather and Tyrell Harrison went off in this one, Finn. Both with double doubles. Casey Prather had 34 and 10, whilst Tyrell Harrison 27 and 15. So dominant from those two.
Damn. That is crazy. Casey Prather once again on one of those MVP runs. Like he started last season pretty mediocrely, and then obviously that second half of the season he was an MVP candidate, essentially, in my opinion. He's picked it up exactly the same as he has this year. Obviously that season opener against the Breakers, we witnessed him just absolutely dismantle the Breakers defense. Tyrell Harrison once again, although I did make a take 2 weeks ago that he could be hitting NBA bound, I think he was a bit average in a few games, but for the most part this round, pretty decent performances from the big Kiwi
Very
slash Aussie.
impressive.
I will stand by what I said last week, and I still think if Tyrell Harrison does piece together a very, very, very good season, we could see him in the NBA. I still think that is a possibility.
I think that's not far-fetched at all, Finn.
Yeah.
Mason Jones, who we just spoke about, he did have his best game of the season for Perth in this one, 19 points. But yeah, they part ways with him pretty much after this game. So
yeah, not surprised. I mean, he was struggling. This was, like you said, his best game, and I don't even know if efficiently he was that good in this game either, considering he was shooting 36% on the season. So Mason Jones on his bike, unfortunately. Goodbye.
what happened in the Adelaide Southeast Melbourne game, Finn?
Yeah, no, Adelaide just completely dominated. I did watch this one. Southeast Melbourne just could not put ball in basket. Adelaide, from about half-time, were leading by 20 plus. And it was just the Bryce Cotton show. Honestly, once again, finished with 28 points. Unsurprisingly, just has been an absolute offensive weapon this year. Honestly, more consistent than some of his games in Perth last season, in my opinion. Despite that 7-point game against Sydney, which was very surprising. I think he's just been so good this year. And we're once again going to see a season from Bryce Cotton where he's going to average more than 25 points per game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that he's on a new team in Adelaide.
Yeah.
DJ's there. Flynn Cameron's been having a huge jump. I think he's gone from 5 points per game to 12.5 from last season to now, which has been honestly great to see from the Kiwi. And obviously the Montrezl Harrell departure was slightly concerning, I think, for Adelaide fans. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. But Isaac Humphries really stepped up in that role. He had 21 and 10 in this game. So, yeah, he's really stepping up as that center and just filling the void that Montrezl Harrell left.
I think he's incredibly underrated, Isaac Humphries. He's been a premier big man in the NBL for as long as I can remember, to be honest, Will. And when Montrez came in and they had the other big last year, God, the name escapes me. Maybe Jarrell Martin, was that his name?
Yeah.
I think. He obviously got shoved down to the bench a bit. But this season so far, considering he is that starting center role, with Cheatham at the 4, Flynn at the 3, DJ and Bryce, he's really proved that he is one, if not, I'd say around that top 5 big men in the league. Yeah. He's really picked it up on the rebounding front, which is something I think he has sort of struggled with in the past, but he's been a perfect match for Bryce Cotton in terms of setting screens, getting downhill, really good touch around the rim. So I think Isaac Humphries has really proved himself to be one of those premier big men in the NBL this year, which I think he's in the right place at the right time with Montrez not being signed. And they haven't even signed a third import. And at the moment, personally, I don't know about you, it doesn't even seem like they need to even change the roster at all.
No, I mean, they're 5-1, second best team in the league, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I agree.
Another game that happened, Melbourne versus the Brisbane Bullets.
This is a funny one.
95-86 win for Melbourne, moved them to 6-0. Jalen Adams, massive fourth quarter. He finished with 29 points and led Brisbane's comeback, which obviously they fell short in the end.
Yeah.
But he's been moved to the bench, which is surprising, but he's obviously thriving in that role, so
yeah.
Just like making the most of where he's been like placed on this team's roster.
Was he moved to the bench last year in Sydney from Brian Gorgian?
I think he was.
Yeah, so similar kind of, I guess, situation with him. now playing for Brisbane, of course. They've been struggling. Obviously, they got that win over us. Javon Freeman Liberty released. Friday night's game against Melbourne was very interesting. They went down, I think they were down as big as 20 points at the fourth quarter. I flicked it off. Honestly, at that point, I was like, I'm going to bed. Had work the next day. And then I watched the highlights the next day, and Jalen Adams had an absolute explosion and brought the game within 3 points with about 3 minutes left. But Melbourne too good, unsurprisingly, and got the job done there. Chris Golding finally back from injury. I think this might have been his second game. 22 points on the night. What an old fart. How is he still doing it? I don't understand. He's been in the league for years, man.
I mean, it's because he's one of the greatest shooters in NBL history. And shooting's like one of those things that you don't like lose with age, really.
Yeah, it's
like
fair.
you lose your athleticism, but you don't really lose your shooting like prowess.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. In this game as well, Casey Prather and Taro Harrison, pretty solid performances, and Milton Doyle and Tanner Krebs also adding to the points column. But yeah, Chris Golding, man, I'm scared. I'm scared for this afternoon. Every time that the Breakers have played Melbourne, I remember the one game, I think it was last season, it was either New Plymouth or Palmerston North, I forget. I think he had 40-something on us and hit that stupid bank game winner from like 2 meters behind the 3-point line.
Yeah. I mean, they're just going to keep doing that. But I think we have a shot today, Finn. I really do. I think
we'll get into that later on.
with a win.
You think we're in with a win? We'll get into that later on.
Possibly. Adelaide versus Cairns.
This is the big game of the round.
Adelaide won 91-86 in this one. So Cairns kept it somewhat close, which was surprising because they've been terrible all year long.
Yeah.
But, of course, Bryce Cotton, 53 points. Second 50-point game of his career. He obviously had 59 against us.
We don't remember that. What, that happened? Where did that happen? I don't remember that.
But obviously, like I saw the box score for this one. I was like, wow, 53 points for Bryce. But I honestly wasn't super impressed. I was like, that's just Bryce Cotton. That's just what he does. And I forget that, like, 50-point games weren't a thing in the NBL until, like, was it last year?
Last year, James Bateman had the first 50-point game for Brisbane.
So this is incredible.
And then it was like a week later, Bryce Cotton was like, all right, let me just go one up here real quick.
And now he's done it again. And it's just like, okay, another one for Bryce. But what, so the third 50-point game in NBL history? It's insane.
He got up 29 shots on the night.
Yeah,
like, that's a lot of shots.
16 for 16 from the free throw line as well.
I think it was 16 of 29. 5 of 13 from 3 was a little bit meh, but
Shooting's going to keep shooting, bro.
Over 50% from the field, and 16 from 16 from the free throw. That's Will Tremaine numbers.
Thanks, mate.
That is Will Tremaine numbers. If you know, you know. That is Will Tremaine numbers.
Andrew Andrews for Cairns. He had 23 points and 7 assists in this one. So, yeah. I mean, he's doing all right as their starting point guard, that import that came in. We weren't that high on him, so proving his doubters wrong, I guess you could say.
He's still figuring it out. He came late. Also, no Jack McVeigh in this one, actually, surprisingly. Yeah. And I have a bone to pick with you about Jack McVeigh, actually. He's worth $1 million, do you think?
No way. No chance. He's not a top 10 player in this league.
Wow.
I don't care that he came over back from the NBA. He wasn't NBA level talent already anyway, so he's always been an NBL level guy. Sorry I said it.
He's a 7-figure salary player, and he was known for his 3-point shooting in Tassie. I don't even think he's part of the top 10 made 3-point mates in the league this year.
He's struggled.
I'm unsure as to what's going on with Jack McVeigh. He's not putting up enough shots. I thought Jack McVeigh going into the league this year, $1 million player. Obviously, when you have your salary made public, that just adds a load of pressure onto you. Like, I feel bad for the guy, but you're not really playing up to it. He almost had a triple-double in the early rounds. He doesn't look as aggressive. I want to see Bryce Cotton volume and usage rates from Jack McVeigh on the Cairns Taipans. He's worth the same as Bryce Cotton. So why is he not getting 20-plus field goals up a night?
Yeah.
An NBA player, by the way.
Fair enough. Good point you make there, Finn. Also, there were some good showings from Admiral Schofield and Rain Smith in this one as well. Yeah. So both high-level guys as well. Yeah. Southeast Melbourne absolutely destroyed Illawarra, Finn. 116-76. 40-point win.
What is going on with Illawarra, dude?
They've fallen
bottom of the table.
I had them finishing first.
I think I had them second.
It's insane. Hopefully, Will Hickey comes in and just saves the day.
Look, from what I read today, he's still quite far away from making his return to NBL 26. With, I think it was an eye injury.
Yikes. Oh, I know all about those.
And obviously, yeah, true. And, Ja'Cory McLaughlin released. Tyler Harvey's been moved to the 1. Unsure as to what's going on. But first of all, they got absolutely pantsed by the Breakers about 2 weeks ago on Ignite Cup round. The Breakers' first win scored 126 points, was it?
Yeah.
And then they've conceded 116 against
So
Southeast Melbourne.
Defense is just
Not
non-existent.
good at all. And, no offense to my guy Angus Glover, NBL champion. But why is he scoring 26 points against the Illawarra Hawks and hitting 8 3-pointers?
8 for 12.
Yeah, very
insane.
efficient from the night. And obviously that came for most of the scoring. But Illawarra, what is going on?
Who knows? But the one bright side from this is Jackson Ball got to make an appearance.
Shout out
late in the
Jackson
fourth
Ball,
quarter.
man. Shout out Jackson Ball. He scored 4 points.
Yeah. He's a bucket, bro. He's going to be something special, for sure.
I mean, he's off to Wisconsin for not this season, this college season. That's Hayden Jones. The season after. So he's already committed, and he'll be there for the 2026-7 NCAA season.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he'll be with Illawarra for all this year. And then he's finished school, so unsure what he'll be doing. Maybe come back, play Sal's,
Could do.
and then off to college.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Good
But
for
yeah,
him.
really cool to see him get an opportunity to go play. I think he's still 17.
Damn.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Not many 17-year-olds can say they've made their debut in the NBL and scored 4 points.
Damn right.
Very,
Let's
very
get into the
impressive.
game of the round, though, Finn.
Game of the round.
The game we attended Friday night, home, Spark Arena. The Breakers got the job done against the Tasmania JackJumpers, 82-65. I know you were skeptical heading into this one, Finn.
Weren't we? Okay, hold on. If you weren't as a Breakers fan, are you really watching the NBL properly? Because I think
Yeah, no,
all
fair.
Breakers fans
We were.
we're going to get pantsed. I mean, considering Tassie first of all, Tassie had just come off a huge win over Sydney, and I think they were 4-1 leading into this game. Obviously, they've had David Johnson out with injury, Majuk Deng as well, plus a couple others in their deep bench rotation. So I thought this is going to be a really tough game. But what do you reckon? I thought we made this look pretty easy in the end.
I mean, yeah, we shot 2 for 26 from 3, Finn, and we still managed to come out with the win. We also only had 2 turnovers, which you were telling me off camera is the least amount of turnovers in NBL history in a game.
Since they started recording the stat 43 years ago.
So taking care of the ball was massive in this one for us. Also, our rebounding problems didn't seem to be there. We were doing a good job on the boards. I think we just played great collectively as a team. We got Brockington going. He started getting more looks, which I think has been something that's been missing to start out the season. He's kind of been a non-factor in a lot of the games.
I know.
But as that guy that we saw in the preseason in the Blitz, we need to get him the ball more. When he gets the ball and he goes downhill, he's a bucket.
Brockington off 2 feet in the paint
There's no one better.
is almost a 100% guaranteed layup.
Yeah.
We saw when we were at the game, he did it, I think, like 3 or 4 possessions in a row. Gets downhill on his left hand, jumps off 2, and the way he absorbs contact and stays in the air and is able to finish, excellent. It's some of the best in the league.
And I mean, a lot of those he's getting fouled on as well. So they're 3-point opportunities.
Yeah.
He's getting and one opportunities. Like, I think if he really finds his form and he does that every game, he'll lead this league in like and ones. If that's even a stat.
The only thing I am still really not sold on when it comes to Isaiah Brockington is his ability to shoot the ball, though.
His jump is funky, yeah.
Super funky. Really, he
Jumps so high.
He reminds me, I've said this on a pod already, it reminds me of Norman Powell. Jumps very, very high and has a high release point, which has
It's good.
actually helped from the midi. He's quite a good mid-range shooter, I'll give him that. And he's got quite a few and one from the middies because he jumps real high and defenders get really quite close up underneath him and he draws fouls. I'm not sold on his ability to shoot the 3-ball at the moment, which is surprising because when he played in the G League and as well as the CEBL, the Canadian League, I think he shot around 36% from 3. So not bad numbers NBL standards, but he hasn't been able to translate that same 3-point efficiency over to the NBL. So that's something I'm still a bit iffy
Still
about.
early on in the season.
Of course
so
it is.
plenty of time for him to figure that part of his game out as well. And I definitely think that he can turn it around from the way that he started and become like we said, I want him to be the main scoring option on this team. Him and Parker, they should be getting out buckets.
Batman and Robin, that's what I like to call him. I think
Batman and Robin.
Brockington needs to be more aggressive. I mean, we had a theory that we thought the only reason he wasn't being aggressive was because Cop was holding him back. I don't know, because Cop's rotations confused the ever-living shit out of me. I'm not even going to lie. He played 11 players in the first quarter against Tassie.
Rob Baker was in foul trouble, so that explains
That
Max
does-
Starling coming on early.
Yeah,
but
he did say that in the press conference, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, true that. Yeah, interesting one. That actually rounded out our 3-game homestand as well, Will. So we had 3 home games. Obviously got the huge win against Illawarra. We did lose to Southeast Melbourne. However, I reckon we should have won that one. Sam Meninga had 29 and 11, I think. Probably one of the best games of his career. And unfortunately, we let it slip out of our hands in the fourth quarter. So we got the win over Tassie. Realistically, that could have been a 3-0 home stretch, which would have put us pretty comfortably in the mid-table. Yeah.
So I think there's definitely...
4-3? 3-4. We're 2 and
5, right? So if we swap 2 of those losses to wins...
We only had 1 loss.
Oh, true.
Southeast Melbourne. Yeah.
Still, that would have, put us in a decent spot in the standings.
Absolutely.
And I don't think the standings show, it makes us look worse than we are, is what I'm trying to say.
And I see why you said 4-3, because there was that game against Perth.
Yeah, that was
a couple weeks ago where I missed.
We went up
because I was, and we probably should have won that as well. But what's John Riley's son's name? The guy with the long hair, obviously Riley. I forgot his first name. He came in and iced the game. But
we went on a massive run there. We were up 17 or 12
in the fourth quarter
in that game.
I
just choked.
We could be a plus 500 team at the moment. There's just 2 games, and Cop alluded to this in the presser on Friday night, that there was 2 games we unfortunately didn't close out at home. And realistically, we could have, and that would have put us upwards of 4th or 5th seed. So pretty crazy. But anything else that stood out to you in this game?
PJC obviously led the way for us, 21-6. I did bring it up with Cop in the presser, just how absurd it is. Some of those shots that he makes, driving down through the lane, through 2 defenders, chucks it up, and it somehow drops.
He made some stupid left hand one.
Yeah,
and I looked at you did I just see that happen?
Yeah,
he's ridiculous. Can I just highlight one player as well?
Yeah.
Carlin Davison has honestly just been phenomenal this year.
Good.
A very young man, I think 21 years old, was a DP last season, had an outstanding season at Taranaki, by the way, in the Sal's NBL. Obviously was transitioned into a fully rostered player, which I think was well-deserved after his showing in Sal's NBL.
Most definitely.
Honestly, against Brisbane in the first game was excellent, and then Cop benched him. I was so confused. I was like, why is he not playing? But the last 3 or 4 games, he's been one of the first players off the bench, and honestly, I think he's our best defender.
Yeah, I think he could be our 6th man. Genuinely.
I genuinely think that
I want
to
see him get so many minutes.
He had a plus 17 plus minus on Friday night with 3 steals and a very good block on Tiger Campbell.
Elite defender, very underrated passer.
Very underrated.
Very underrated.
I mean, he had a couple triple dubs in Sal's NBL for Taranaki.
Yes. Did you see that lob that he threw to Max Darling as well on the fast break?
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's a very underrated passer.
Obviously, athleticism. Probably one of the most athletic. He was one of the most athletic players in the Sal's NBL. Same thing goes for the Australian NBL.
Very bouncy.
Extremely athletic.
He's a very underrated player, and when the press conference audio plays up after this, I did ask Cop about Carlin, and he's very high on him. He said his potential is essentially through the roof.
Yeah.
I think one thing he needs to work on is his jump shot, which honestly he has hit quite a few threes this season, which I'm happy with, but not a known 3-point shooter.
No.
Obviously, he's been working on that quite a bit throughout this season as well, but just really happy for Carlin and his development as a player, and considering we've only played about 7 games, I think by the end of the year, he's going to be a very, very good player. He's going to be a very key piece for this team. Hopefully, if we really string together a few wins, we could be in with a good shot of making that play-in tournament. I don't know if we're a top 2 team. Not a top 2 team, but top 4. Very stoked. But
don't write us off yet, Finn.
Yeah,
still
just
a chance.
Really happy with the performance. The 2 from 6 from 3. The fact we still had, a 17-point win, shooting 7%. Man, we could have put on a 40-point performance against these guys.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's our defense has stepped up, holding Tassie to 65 points, limiting their guys, Tiger Campbell, Bryce Hamilton,
Will Magnay.
Yeah.
Bannon as well. Bannon had a quiet one.
Massive win for us.
And rebounding. Something that we've spoken about on this pod quite a bit is how awful we've been on the defensive end. We out-rebounded Tassie significantly and had 19 offensive rebounds on the night, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Just those scrappy boards. Kareem Lopez gets in there a lot. Sam as well, just disrupting, and somehow Parker just comes up with a few as well. But
insane. He's good.
He looked really good. Really, really happy performance. And leading into this Melbourne United game this afternoon.
Well, speaking of the press conference, which we did, we'll link that in now. Yeah. We got to ask Cop a couple questions. We also asked, what's the name? Scott Roth, a couple of questions. What were your thoughts on his responses, Finn?
Yeah, well, first of all, he was an angry man. He was an angry man post-game, as you probably would be, losing 17 points, 65 points. Not a lot to score in the NBL. I did make
a few words.
I made a slight mistake. I thought they were playing Sydney today, but it was actually next Sunday, and he was a bit rude to me. But understandably why. I look like a bit of an idiot.
Right,
however, that wasn't the worst thing said in a press conference on the weekend.
Fair.
There was a guy, I forget his name, Brisbane Bullets press conference. They'd lost to Melbourne, and he congratulated Stu Lash on the win. So that was interesting. So I wasn't
way to shoot out shots, Finn.
I wasn't the worst. Hey, I'm not shooting shots. I'm just saying at least I wasn't the worst. And yeah, but yeah, we'll chuck in the press conference audio now and be back with our little review or preview into this afternoon's game against Melbourne.
Coach, can you just speak to us about Parker's leadership? Like, you can't help but stand there in awe sometimes with some of those shots that he's making. It just seems unreal that he's able to get those up. Just what he means to the team as a leader, and also has he fully gotten over those rib problems he was having early in the season?
I think he's getting better and better. Beginning of the season, you can see he wasn't 100% yet, but he was out there. He was trying to help his teammates, and he's getting better. He also getting, his rhythm back, but he's our leader. Our system, how we want to play, is made around him. Kind of when he's on, we are usually on, and like I said, sometimes he's like an artist. Sometimes on the court, he finds those small spaces to go, and when he attracts so much attention to him, it's just the other guys, they need to be ready to take advantage. But today, like I said earlier, what I liked most, he was more poised also. He controlled the game. He picked his moments in transition. He found a way like always, but at the same time he controlled the game, and like I said, 2 turnovers is great job from our guards controlling the game and executing.
Must be incredibly pleased with how Carlin Davison has already come along as a player, considering he was a DP last year, and to having very meaningful minutes and meaningful games already this season. You must be incredibly pleased.
No, last season already, when I saw him in practice, I really like what he can do. And I think with Carling, the biggest thing, what I talk with him, he can't get satisfied. He got so much talent, so much potential, but he needs to learn how to be always, every day, professional, be better, work on his game, because what I tell him, don't waste your opportunity, don't waste, and every time, like, there are the moments when he's locked in, he does amazing things, because he got also great feel for the game, and he can defend, he's athletic, and those are the moments I think he did so far. Great step forward during the this start of the season, being there, working in practice, getting better, and just realizing you are just in the beginning of your journey. It's a marathon, and you need to keep working every day. And because, like I said, the potential is there. The sky's the limit.
How important is a win like this going into a game in less than 48 hours against top of the table as well? This momentum must be pretty huge for you guys for Sunday.
No, every game in this league is important, and I think, like I said in the interview during the week, I felt like we let already 2 games slip away. We just couldn't finish, and just happy for the guys, for the effort. They've been practicing well and trying to do the things, and still we didn't play perfect game, but we found a way how to win the game and do those. We talk before the game, we have to do the little things, the boring stuff. We have to be much better on every time you step. Is it box out? Is it, stopping your man one-on-one? Those little things. And that's, you get the confidence there when we get stops, we get to the open court. We are a pretty good team. But we have to get, enjoyment out of the boring stuff and do those little things better.
Yeah, so Breakers take on Melbourne, 4:30 p.m. for us to get. The podcast is obviously being released at 5, like we mentioned earlier. What are your hopes, expectations going into this game, away game? We're paying $7 as underdogs.
I'm not surprised
to win this one, Finn.
Less than 48 hours after, so the game finished around what? You'd say 9:30, 10 p.m. on Friday night. The game's at 2:30 p.m. Melbourne time.
Yeah,
that is nuts. So it's like 40 hours after the end of the game on Friday, leading into this. They got to get up. They got to travel. They might get 1 shoot around. There'll be no team practice. we're playing the top of the league, undefeated 6-0 Melbourne, who just have Chris Golding back. Obviously, Shea Ellie's still out with forgot what he got. It's not his concussion. I think it might be. I'm unsure. I forget what his injury is. Sorry, Shea, but I'm not hopeful leading into this one this afternoon. To be brutally honest with you, Will.
Mark my words, the Breakers win this game. Mark my words. We're going on a 2-game win streak. We're winning this game, Finn.
May I remind you?
I don't care.
May I remind you? The first round, when we played Brisbane, lost to Brisbane, went to Melbourne, John Cain Arena. We lost by almost 40 points to Melbourne, in Melbourne.
Yeah, don't care. We figured it out, and we're winning this game by 10.
10?
We're winning this game by 10 points. Brockington is having the best game of his season. It's putting up a 25-piece. Parker's going to add 10 assists. And the Breakers are going to get the job done on the road in the biggest upset of NBL 26 and turn our season around officially. And we're going to go on a bit of a run here now, Finn.
I love the optimism, but if you really look at this Melbourne United team, Will, Jesse Edwards has looked like a top 3 centre in this league. Chris Golding's back. There's Tyson Walker. Man, he's good. Milton Doyle's looking like his old Tassie self. This is a really big ask for us to go over there with not much rest. And considering we're not in the greatest form, obviously the game against Tassie was good, but we shot 2 of 26. If our 3-ball falls this afternoon, we win this game, I think. But that's a huge ask, considering the form of our 3-point shooting.
If, that's all I needed. I needed an F.
There's always a chance, right? There's always upsets in basketball. It happens in the NBA every single day. You will have the 15th seed somehow come out and just beat the first seed. It's happened before.
Yep.
We are, 7th on the ladder? We have some momentum carrying into this game, which I talked to Cop about, and he said every game's important, but it obviously will help a little bit. But Melbourne, a rested Melbourne team playing at home, that's 6-0, it's a big ask.
Who knows? Stay tuned. The game will obviously be pretty much done by the time you see this, but hopefully we get the job done. Our poll question last week, Finn.
Oh, yeah.
Is Petteri Koponen the right man for the job?
Man, it was a big question,
Very
too.
surprising responses here. TikTok, 30 of you said no. Only 6 of you said yes.
Damn, it's like 80-something% said no.
Yeah. Instagram, 12 of you said no. 4 yeses. So the overwhelming majority of you think that Petteri Koponen is not the right man for the job.
42-10 total votes.
It's insane.
That is nuts.
I did not expect that.
I didn't vote on this. I throw it out to the audience. It's too early to make a claim on this.
Yeah, we got a couple of comments from watchers. Dylan Wilkie, friend of the show, friend of ours.
Good friend of the pod.
He said, way too early to pose that. They've had a rocky start, but I don't think Cop is to blame. I think the players are on board with him. They just need to find their form. Hashtag let Will speak. I couldn't agree more with Dylan.
And the hashtag, I'm sure, yeah.
But yeah, he nailed it on the head with that one. I think it's just too early to pose that question, whether he's the right man for the job or not. I'm a big fan of Petteri Koponen, so
am I.
I want to see him sticking around.
I mean, I'm not saying yes or no, but I think you can't make the call that early. That's why I threw it out there. I just really wanted to get the gauge of how Breakers fans were feeling about Petteri Koponen at the moment, because, I mean, we were looking pretty bad. But strung together 2 wins since that last podcast. So
yeah.
I have a comment as well from TikTok. This is from Ollie. Flavel is absolutely the man for the job. Look at what Southeast Melbourne did last year. We still lack the depth compared to the rest of the league, but I think if we part with Cop, we have the pieces to stay competitive for the sixth seed, depending on injuries and other factors for other teams.
Damn.
Now, I have a theory.
Bold take.
This is a bold take. I have a theory. Obviously, Judd Flavel picked up as an assistant coach. He is Dylan Boucher's right hand man. Like, they're good. They're probably good friends. They've been around in and around coaching, playing as well together for a long time.
Yeah.
This is a weird theory, but this could be right. Do you reckon they did sign him as an assistant coach for backup, just in case Cop didn't work this year, so they could just insert him straight into a head coaching role?
Yeah, I think that's not a far-fetched take.
I
think
hate
he's
to
just
say
that.
it.
He's like that.
Well, he's like one of the best
called?
Kiwi coaches we have.
Yeah.
Probably the best. I mean, he took Canterbury to almost he won 3 in a row with Canterbury, right?
Yeah. He's that just backup, safe, secure option if things don't work with Cop.
Well, he's Tall Black's head coach too, knows these guys, but yeah, interesting one, eh? A lot of people love, a lot of New Zealand basketball loves Judd Flavel for obvious reasons.
And I think that obviously translated to the way that you guys voted on this poll,
I think
which
so
was
too.
surprising. But always great to get your guys' thoughts. We've got another poll this week,
Yeah.
similar to the one about Cop. This one's about our imports. Are Rob Baker and Isaiah Brockington the right fits for the Breakers roster? Yes or no? Vote down below. Leave your comments. We'll shout you out in the next episode.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think one of them is. I think the other is not. But I'll leave that for a future episode.
I might be in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. But I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Yeah, like Will said, leave it in the comments down below, and we'll be reviewing them in a couple weeks' time. And it'll be interesting to see what these next few results are like. And obviously, in 2 weeks, you won't see us next weekend. Obviously, with the NBA special coming out on Sunday, but we will look at the results and the comments in a couple weeks' time, and who knows what have changed in 2 weeks? It's a long time.
Thanks again for tuning in, guys. And yeah, we're gonna get right to recording.
We see you on Sunday.
Next episode.
See you on Sunday. Same clothing and all.
Same clothing. NBA special.
Yeah, make sure to pick it in your calendar. Sunday, 5 p.m. the 26th of October. The NBA special Fast Break podcast will be out. See you then.